open up our show. Have a really big cue. Our show is going to run approximately 75 minutes tonight. And for the last couple of weeks, we've been focusing on the late Reverend Ike's teachings, and now we're flipping over to the late Wayne W. Dyer's teachings. So this is apropos, was all of these people who have helped us graduate and move into a higher way of understanding and seeing and receiving are in some way influenced by the teachings. Now, I'm also going to bring in some other wonderful work over the weeks as well, because everyone that knows me, I speak of divine grace all the time, which is the principle of grace. When I refer to it as divine grace, I'm talking about Haniel, the archangel Haniel. I'm also talking about the grace of Elohim. So I'm really talking about so many things that's going to get us to be moving forward in the greatness of these teachings. And it's all about helping us, as you know, graduate into a higher form for ourselves. We know that information and timelines are coming down so quickly, and our remembrance is kicking into gear rather swiftly. And last week I talked about Reverend Ike talking about this concept of fascination. Whatever you're fascinated by, you get excited about it, and you mentally think about it a lot, and then your intention goes into it, your willpower goes into it, and your feeling gets into it, and then you begin to draw these things to yourself. And I mentioned that from Wayne Dyer's book here, if I can put it up here, his book here is, let me get it in the screen, Manifest Your Destiny, and he has the 9 principles, these 9 spiritual principles that help bring this into effect. And the way he brings these principles up is that he makes it like each principle is a chapter, and each one of these principles he goes extensively into the teaching. So, and he comes up with so many examples and so many exercises that you can use that you really can't fail. There's no way you can fail unless you don't, exercise it. And so, his thing was about making, with the 4th principle, his was like making that decision to overcome your limitations and to allow yourself to uh, carry within yourself the pictures of what you're striving to do. But he said to know this and keep this in a certain degree of secrecy, so that you are getting it and you're not wasting it on people who don't have the same, let's say, belief system or same path that you're moving forward on. And so this is something that we are moving forward, and it's a beautiful thing that we are able to gravitate toward these principles, and we all use the principles. There's not one person that I know of that's not using these principles. We call them forward in a different way. And so it allows us to receive and then move forward in the work that we are striving to do right now. And we all are looking to improve, so our life is moving up dramatically. The timelines are falling in or falling down or collapsing dramatically. So as you notice, just a few months ago we were celebrating, quote unquote, this new year, and all of a sudden here we are. Springtime is coming up, daylight saving time is coming up next Sunday, and this Sunday coming up is daylight saving time, and then within less than 7 days or 13 days after that, we're going right in to being able to do some other things that we need to do. So, it's all about a sense of graduating. That's what we're doing. We're having this sense of graduation in our lives, and it's an opportunity for us to see our way through. And this is what we're striving to do. And what we want to do is take any of these teachings that you see me presenting here and allow yourself to use them. They're all positive materials. Each one of these lovely beings has heard of the other one. And what I found is that when you study these teachings, as you study the teachings, you find out that either you're striving to achieve them and accomplish them and use them as viable tools in your own life, or you find yourself sharing them with other individuals. Or I've known some people to step out and utilize the teachings, but not had made any steps to make some changes in their own lives. So sometimes, if you don't make the necessary changes in your own life, sometimes you will kind of trip up on the teaching. In other words, the teaching will halt your progress, and it will pull up the things that are not balanced in your life yet. And so if you don't have anything balanced, or if you don't find yourself being balanced enough, then you can't readily use the teaching. However, you could still study the teaching along the way, because you're learning to let go of some old data, some old things that you no longer need. So in this movement here, we're just going to clarify just a little bit farther here. And now, he talked about the need to understand that the source of your imagination is the divine source. The source of your imagination is the divine source. What is the divine source? The God called I Am. Now, as we apply this teaching, and as we understand it, we all are gods and goddesses out here. We're all reflections of the divine. But we're not the only one. We're not the only species reflecting divinity. There's much more going on in nature that's reflecting divinity. And so we have to notice that there is a oneness of everything together. And we know, at least in this particular strata in which we're in the universe, people speak of as having 12 dimensions and 12 realms of consciousness that goes with those dimensions, and it breaks into the 12 chakra system that we are carrying, 7 down the front and 5 on the back, going from the middle of your back all the way up into the base of your skull. And then you've got the 7 from the top, meaning the crown, coming all the way down into the base chakra. So there's 12. Okay? Now, there's more than that goes on, because as you study yourself and study to make yourself more whole and complete than you were the other day, you realize there are many divisions in the body itself. The Chinese teach you through acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, that there are 365 meridian points in the body where they place those thin needles, and then it allows the chi to be the block chi to be released. Then they do things like moxibustion is called, where they have the flame with the herbs, burning the herbs, right, and the flame coming up, and they take those little round glasses and they heat the glass and they place it right over the area to suck up the energy, the stagnant energy, and allow that energy to be moved through the body. There's techniques such as laying on river stones or warm stones on the body. There's putting regular quartz stones and other gemstones on the various meridian points and chakras along the body, front, back, and side, on your soles of your feet, on the top of your head. There's so many different things. And that's not even bringing in yet massage therapy, Reiki, and all these other techniques. And he is saying here, he even says the secret, though, of all of this is understanding that the force is in you. So I said in my program yesterday, God inside of God, inside of God, inside of God, inside of God, like the Fibonacci code. So all these replicas of divinity, from its beyond the highest, what we might think is the highest, beyond the beyond, and then coming all the way down into your body, past your body into the earth. So what we want to understand here, and I mentioned it last week, it's all about releasing the guilt from your past and letting go of your past and understanding, to forgive yourself, to love yourself, and in doing so, you allow yourself to become, and you allow yourself to attract into your life that you already have all these different seeds of awareness, which allow you to create greater healing. So, what we want to do is, I'm going to pick out some other points here that he has brought to the surface so that we can work with the energy. Now, he said the nature of the universe is abundance. The nature of the universe is abundance. Your job is to find out and to remind yourself that you are this divine being and that you shall prosper no matter where you're at, because you are an integral part of this divine source which is also inside of you. Many people, spiritual ministers along, have always taught these mystical truths that we are inside of a larger, much more infinite, conscious, organic body. We are inside this, not only the terrestrial element of the earth, but you're in the planetary energy, and you're in this particular solar system. Then there are other solar systems that you are involved in, that you are inside of. So you can imagine that you are really traveling through this tunnel, and your life opens you up onto these different plateaus, and you get a chance to uh, imbue yourself with all of the energies. Now, the interesting factor is what we're all trying to do also at the same time. We are waking up to the fact that we never really die. Only thing that passes is the physical form that we chose to be in, this earth suit that we chose to wear, that has a certain amount of energy, karmic energy data that's connected to it. It has its own blueprint that goes along with it, and it attracts certain other souls of similar appearance to you or different appearances to you. Okay? So, you're coded in your earth suit and coated with a language, which you choose to take this ship and be born in a certain area of the world. So you might learn some, Chippewa languages and Cherokee languages, or you might be learning how to speak Slavic or Arabic or Italian or Spanish or Yoruba, or you might Kiswahili. You might have all these other languages that you find yourself learning to speak and learning to communicate with. Then you have to learn how to communicate with the natural setting that you find yourself in. And not that you find yourself, but your soul chose the map. And so the map that you chose has a certain, I'm going to say it has an infinite flow of abundance and prosperity going on. Then it has the people that you choose in a contractual arrangement to experience life as you apply yourself to these various tools of divine and earthly expression. But here's the key. You can't get caught up in it. The whole idea is it's a playground, as they say. You're learning the lesson. You're balancing out the different past life energies, which we call karmic lessons. But then we learn that the karmic energy is not really negative. We are the ones that put the connotation, whether it's negative or whether it's positive. But what it is just energy. Okay, and we've allowed ourselves to create this map of consciousness to move through life, however many years we're choosing to stay on the planet, to teach others these various principles and virtues, and also to receive a myriad of teachings and principles and virtues from the parents, the grandparents, the brothers, the sisters, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, the great-great-grandparents, your neighbors, strangers, and all other events. So we're choosing all of this stuff ahead of time. Now, there was something I got in a deep channeled meditation with the spirit of Akhenaten several days ago, and the teaching was, can you imagine that the map that you chose to be on, the map of consciousness, so that you can continue to unfold in this earthly existence, and somewhere down the line you chose a particular insect to bite you, maybe a snake to bite you, be it poisonous or non-poisonous, a dog to bite you. You chose a car accident or train accident. You chose to be robbed or to be the robber. You chose all these things. Why? And he said it this way: you chose these things just in case you slipped off your path to divinity. You chose these experiences, quote unquote, negative experiences, in case you slipped off your path or somehow you got sidetracked. So when these things bit you, life bit you, then it woke you up. It was supposed to shock you back into the path. Then I asked, well, why did we choose that? We didn't have to choose that. He said, yeah, you're right. You didn't have to, but you chose to put it there. And everybody has these experiences that will bite them from life, but they're like mines embedded in the earth. And you could step on one that could throw you off course. You could step on one that could throw you further into your path, further into the destiny that you're creating for yourself, further into your path where you begin to open up spiritually and see the divine nature unfold itself. And then you begin to recollect. Right? Recollect is to remember. Recollect, though, is to collect things again, but at a higher level, a higher elevation that are going to take you into a higher vibrational index in a session or life where you can continue to prosper. You can recognize that you're prospering, and prosperity comes in different forms, and abundance of that prosperity comes in different forms. There's better health. Okay, and with better health, we eat right, we exercise more. We also watch what we take into the mind. It's very important to pay attention to these thoughts that are coming your way, and pay attention to the thoughts you have on the inside that you're, constantly thinking about, and then that you're issuing and sharing with other people. And then, of course, you look at not only that kind of exercise and health, but then you look at the mental health, then you look at the emotional wellness, then there's the physical wellness that comes into this, and of course your spiritual wellness that comes into this. Then you're looking at what kind of career that you have, or what kind of things that you will do. So money, the energy of money is always prevalent in your life, it's always flowing through, and you have this positive cash flow. You've got these passive incomes, whatever you want to call it, these different languages of life, or this man-made life that's put together. You want to make sure that life is like a monopoly. You want to make the right choices at the right time so that you're consciously receiving. And you're receiving in such a manner that you don't have to worry about anything, and you're receiving in such a manner that you can share what you have with other people. Because that's all important, is to be able to seed into someone else's life. If you could seed, because if you understand that the world is overflowing with abundance, and I remember the late Reverend Ike used to teach this. He used to say, you can cast your vote in politics. You can do all of that stuff. You can cast the votes for your senators and your governors and your mayors and so on and so on and so on. But he said, it is not man's economy that determines your wealth. It is not man's economy that determines your health. It is not man's economy that determines the kind of family that you're with, or the kind of family you're going to start, or the kind of relationships that you're going to have. He used to say this: doesn't matter who's in the White House. If you stay so focused about who's in the White House, you'll forget who's in your own house. That's how he uses. He almost would say it like that. I know some other people who studied with him used to say that too, that if you're concerned too much outside your own home, with everything going outside your own home, you forget who's in your home. So those of you who have partners, mates, spouses, you name it, children, maybe you're a single parent, maybe the child's lucky to have two parents. Who's in your household? Who's in your household expanding their awareness, expanding their consciousness, freeing themselves from this old world that burdens us? So we all want to do something that elevates us. And so these teachings here help us to get elevated. That's why I bring them here. I'm not just bringing what has influenced me. I'm not just doing it to remind myself, because I am in some sense, but I get a joy out of sharing what I'm learning with other people. And again, things that I have may not gel for you, and things you have may not gel for me. But the opportunity to hear it starts to get what? Your brain percolating. It starts getting you excited. Hey, you've heard some new ideas, and now you're going to implement these new ideas. You're going to gain the experience so that you can implement the idea. Okay, so here, as we get back, because I can get pretty excited about this. He says you are an aspect of that force that is always moving, always forever expanding, and is unlimited. The teachings that you hear in the unity churches and the science of mind churches, which are the new thought, I was going to call them industries of spiritual industries, they always say God is an unfailing supply. God is an unfailing supply. God is limited. God is in you. You are a part of the God consciousness. Therefore, you also are unlimited. Reverend Ike used to say it this way: every idea that you have that comes to you is $1 million idea. But once the idea comes to you, then you got to ask yourself, well, what am I going to do with this idea? What's the purpose for the idea? Where can this idea take me? How can this idea affect and change my life and affect and change everyone else's life around me? And when is it going to happen? And how am I going to go about doing it? Well, when you're using creative visualization, or as Reverend Ike called it, picturization, when you start picturizing these ideas so that you can see them, every metaphysical person always tells you, be concerned with the first thought and be concerned with the final thought, which is the outcome. So, what we're all striving to do is what? We know exactly, we made this decision, we know exactly what we want to do. Now that we know exactly what we want to do, now we want to move forward. And as we do this and move forward, we move forward with the power of being. And as we move forward with the power of being, then we can be blessed. And so as we do that, we want to feel the presence. That's what we want to do. We want to feel the presence of opportunity coming into our life. We want to feel the presence of not only the opportunity coming into our life, but we want to know that we'll be successful. So one of the other things he has said, many have said, well, once you decide what you want, and when you want it in your life, and how you want to go about getting it, and where you want it to be in your life, and why do you need it? What is the most important thing? Why you need this? Because your questions to yourself of the why, and the when, and the what, all of these shape the picture. And you make the picture whole and complete. But then, as you're making this picture whole and complete, the next thing that you're doing is this. You are acting as if it is already done. So let's say you have this business, and maybe in the beginning you're floundering with the business, but there's some little things that are powerful things that you can do. Let's say here you're striving to be a consultant, a business consultant to others who have businesses, or you're striving to be a life coach or a transformational speaker. Well, you might have to do a few things. Not only just get out there and market yourself, brand your name, get your business cards together, get your brochures together. You got to like advertise yourself. But one of the best ways to advertise yourself is what? Word of mouth. Because if you could talk about it and you feel comfortable talking about it, you will find someone else who feels equally comfortable in listening to what you have to say. Now, you might have a particular couple of tools that when you offer these tools, it helps that person have greater clarity in their life. Not just listening in that moment, but clarity so they can see what they're doing around themselves. When you start developing that track record, then other people who you're helping, they start what? Spreading the word. They start advertising your name for you. They start talking about you more and more and more. Now, there's other things you can do. Dress better, dress neater. Wear something that makes you stand out. Wear some colors that are unique for yourself. Wear some jewelry, costume jewelry, whatever. Wear something that makes you feel better and brings you into that part. Then you might start hosting talks. You might now we got the internet. You go online and you're doing a seminar, a webinar, a teleconference call, or you're doing a video conference where people can see you, and you can put someone else up on the screen that can help you get the information out. Well, all these things that they're speaking about here helps you to get the message out. Okay? Because why? Everything is unlimited. You can't hold yourself back. He said the force is you. So if the force is you, then you're going to succeed. You're here. The God aspect in you succeeded. You're here. In the now, in the moment. You just have to pick yourself up and move forward in this moment. So you have to what? Act as if. You have to explore the possibility that you can make it happen. Okay, you're a dance instructor. You need some dance students. But what kind of dance do you teach? Do you teach classical? Do you do the Catherine Dunham technique? Because that might be something that's a classical technique form that's been out for years. Or you're teaching jazz dance, tap dance, modern jazz or modern dance, tap dance, ballroom dancing, swing dancing, salsa dance. I have a lot of friends back east. They're salsa dancers. I'm here in New Mexico and everybody salsas. Even if they got 3 or 4 steps, they're all doing it. But they got, I'm going to call it studios, which are like clubs. Where every Thursday night, they're out there. Every Thursday, Friday night, these schools are opening up and people are in there dancing. They're learning these different dance forms. And then they go out in the public and dance. They go out as a team and dance. So if you can imagine somebody who needs students, they're going to put themselves in a venue where they can be seen. Same with a musician, plays. The musician goes to a club and sits in and plays. Or the musician hires themselves out to be a instructor. Or better yet, I have an older brother who's a jazz musician. What he used to do was, in fact, there was an elder friend of ours that passed, and she helped us do this. She was a middle school teacher, and they have career day program once a year. So she knew us. She asked us, would we like to participate? We don't get paid for it, but we come in and we show the students what we could do. Now, I kind of wish now, back in those days, I really understood my Tai Chi. Because I could have went in there and demonstrated Tai Chi to the children. And they could have learned this Tai Chi as a form of meditation. They could have participated and learned it as a form of moving meditation. That would have been an ideal situation. But we went in there and we did some music. And the children were amazed. My brother bought one of his drum students. I sat up there and played 2 kalimbas, a tenor kalimba, and a soprano kalimba together, side by side. I had a little basic tune. I had a 36 string auto harp that I used. I had a guitar, I had an acoustic guitar that I played, and I just played something really basic. And then I played something with my brother and his student. It was fun for us, and it was definitely fun for the students. And it really woke them up because now they can see they've got some place to go. They have something to aim for. They realized that they had a dream. They had a vision of themselves, and they began to picture that vision. And of course, being that working as educators, we told them your education is important, so they began to get excited. And I can tell you, I remember a couple of weeks seeing a young man on the bus, and he was excited by what we were doing. It made him know that, hey, he could do this. So, as much as you're putting these principles to work, you have to believe. You have to, once you start believing, you realize that, as he says here, thought is a creative action. So you got the idea. Now you got to put the idea into action, even though you don't see anything yet. So you have to have the faith that what you're doing is going to resolve itself. It's going to work out. But now you need to be consistent. You need to have a lot of enthusiasm about it. You need to have some knowledge and some wisdom, understanding. You need to increase your skills in your field. And you have to stay busy. So what do? You find those libraries where people go in there and they talk about what they do. Maybe you put together a small class and you go and you teach a small class. You have to do something. Now, the first time you do it, you may not attract anything. You may not attract anyone. You may have maybe 10 people, but it may not touch everybody. But the more you do it, the more consistency, the more your name gets out, then the people say, hey, this is Janice, and Janice teaches how to do trick magic at birthday parties. And she knows how to set up the parties. And she knows the procedures of calling the people and how you have to present yourself. All of these things come into play. But what you realize is abundance is everywhere. Prosperity is everywhere. There's no lack in the universe, therefore there's nothing that you're lacking because you're in the sea of consciousness about it. You're consciously aware that all of these things are there and you can't miss it. So when you understand that all these things are there and you can't miss it, then you see yourself doing what? You see yourself moving towards your target. Now, another thing you have to do, and they didn't say it here, but you have many targets. Okay? You got long range and short range targets. So you're striving to accomplish many things at once. That's the multitasking part. Then you got the long range goal. Your long range goal might mean to be on an international stage doing this. Marketing yourself, showing other people how to market themselves, showing people how to sing, dance, compose music, design clothes for fashion, build homes, whatever. But the whole thing started on you, hinged on you understanding who you were, finding out your passion, and then moving toward it. Some people said 10% is the idea, the other 90% is working it up. So don't be shy about talking about what you do. Sometimes you might be in certain company of people where they're not open to something spiritual, but a time will come up when you can express. Many times in my past, and I've been doing this stuff, this is my 43rd year. In those first 10 years, ego was there, and I was constantly talking about it. Then I learned ego doesn't work because you attract other egotistical people, and then you can attract some of the naysayers, and then you attract the people to brag, and then you're being competitive with other people rather than honing your skill and so that you can apply it accordingly with the clientele and the audience that you're seeking to have. So then the next 10 years, I learned, okay, settle down, study it more, apply it. But how can I study it more? Put myself out where I did a lot of numerology charts for little or nothing. Tarot readings for little or nothing. Meditation group classes, individual classes, one-on-one. But I did more group class. And then one day, about 20 some odd years ago, Someone came to this place called the Yoga and Polarity Center where I was teaching every Thursday. Thursday morning I'd do Tai Chi. Thursday evening I'd come back and I'd do a meditation group. This guy came to me. He liked it so much, found out he was a chiropractor, didn't live too far from where I lived, and he began to send me his clients because he realized he's working on their body energetically, but he's unable to work on their mind. I also had psychotherapists coming to those meditation classes. Yoga teachers that taught there, they started coming. They started sending their family members. So things started to grow. Now I saw a path, and that's what you have to do. You have to map out a path, but you have to pay attention to the path that's unfolding in front of you because it gives a lot of messages. Again, the universe is abundant, and you can prosper, and it doesn't matter who is in the Oval Office. You can still prosper. Why? Because you make up your mind to be prosperous. And you do whatever it takes, whether you go to the library 3 days a week and you spend 4 hours in there reading everything that you could read. So you can stay on top of the idea, the thing that you're seeking to bring into your life. It's already manifested spiritually, but you want to bring it in so it becomes material in your life. So therefore, if you're acting as if, it will come to you. You want a brand new car? You go to the car dealership and you sit in a brand new car. You sit in a lot of them. Why? Because you're telling the universe that you're open to go see. Then the universe does what? It starts bringing you more experiences and more opportunities of the same thing. You want to change the social circle that you are in. So you start going to better restaurants, fancier restaurants. You start hanging out with clubs where people you might consider them to be socially upward and mobile. You start interacting. You start reading material, looking at DVDs. You do whatever it takes. Why? To ingrain these things in your mind. Now, the habit is necessary. How many days we are working with the so-called 30-day calendar, 30 to 31-day calendar, so abundance and prosperity exists all the time. So what is it that you need to do? You need to learn a new skill, develop a new habit, develop a new way of thinking and being. But here's the catch. You've got to do it for at least 3 weeks, 21 days, every day. And every moment in that day, at some point, 3 to 4 times a day, you want to consume yourself in that new habit, that new skill. And in that 21 days, you will have kicked out some old habits, old data that you no longer use for yourself, and you go through these motions. Now, after 21 days, you will be accustomed to getting up and going out there walking and jogging, and then coming back and reading a book, and then coming back and watching some information that uplifts your spirit. Then you're doing some other things. Then you write in your day journal book, and then you write what you're going to do for the rest of the day. And you start making some phone calls, or you go to your job and you start interacting with people. You start living in the moment. But you're not done yet, right? Because you only went 21 days. Now you go to the next 19 days. Because by the time you get to the 21st day, the new habit is now in you. The new way of thinking and dressing and doing and being and having has been planted. And you've been cultivating it, and you've been watering the mind with good deeds, good thoughts, good actions, good people, good opportunities, good ideas. So for the next 19 days, you are now riding off that initial energy, and now you're watching it materialize into your life. You took it on as an idea, you worked it through, and you continue to work it through. And by the 21st day, you notice that it's a part of you. The next 19 days, you're just going to slide into every base until you slide home and it triggers itself over and over and over. So, in essence, it took you 30 days. But if you wanted to, you could stretch it to 40 days. 40 days and 40 nights is a more than enough time to purify the soul's intention, to materialize the soul's own vision of you. You're striving to change the way you think, the way you do things. There are routines that you begin to switch up and change. This is important for your well being. You change yourself. So you can change your environment, but if you on the inside don't change, if you don't change the way you think, the way you feel, the way you do things, then no matter where you're at, you will replicate the old things, the past. So you must do something that's different. And when that different thing comes into full bloom, in those 30 days or 40 days, before that 30th day comes and before that 40th day comes, begin to plant another seed. This is why many people say, learn to be a lender and not a borrower. If you're borrowing all the time, then the pressure's on you to what? To fulfill the debt, to pay it off. But if you can get yourself in a position where you're not worried about being the lender, then when you lend something to someone, someone can benefit from that energy of lending. Now, how is it? How is it you're planting the seed? You're planting it with unconditional love. That's what you're doing. You're planting it with unconditional love. That means, and we'll make it this simple. You see somebody who's homeless. It is not for you to judge them. Why? Because somewhere down in the line, in your own life, in a past life, you were a homeless person. You were a poor person. You were poverty stricken. So it is your intent to seed something that is beneficial for them. Well, here's another way so that you are helping them when you give them the seed, be it new clothes or some money or food. Always see the recipient, envision the recipient doing better when you give them what you give them. So if you see this person who's homeless and your higher self leads you, because you can feel the angelic presence around you and this person, it leads you to give more than what they ask, do it. Do it. Be obedient to the Holy Spirit in you. Give more than what they ask. Now, when you do this, you're not saying, well, I'm giving it to them and I expect to get it back from them. No, don't do it that way. Just tithe it into their lives with unconditional love, no judgment whatsoever, no reservation like, oh, I gave them the money, I should have kept the money. No, give them the money. They say you never know if you're entertaining angels. Well, you never know if you're entertaining an angel sitting in the body of that person or sitting behind that person, or maybe the angel is behind you, observing you. Maybe there's people walking around the both of you and they're the angels. Seed. I find that if you seed into someone's life or an organization that you feel is doing the right thing on the planet, be it a Greenpeace, be it a wildlife fund, be it a Sierra Club, anything, it will always come back to you. Always. There's no doubt in your mind because you didn't have any doubt in your mind when you seeded them that money, when you seeded them food, when you seeded them clothes on their back, clean clothes, when you were able to direct them to a place of shelter if you couldn't do it. But the bottom line is you have created a ministry of helping people. See, as Dr. Wayne W. Dyer says in that book, the force is in you. The force that is in you placed you in this position, in this greater world, in this organic terrain, to do more than just live, to do more than just survive, but to thrive, and to thrive in such a manner that you can help someone. Maybe there's a neighbor that you know that's always struggling, but you gather some goods and you knock on their door and you present it to them and you ask absolutely for nothing. The Your body is not even carrying "I want something back" message. It's not in your heart. It's in your heart to give. We know that we're in this human form and we all are in this state of giving. No one likes to see one suffer. So you give and you give and you give and you give, but you give relentlessly with unconditional love. You do it with an ear of compassion. You're not living above someone, you're living eye to eye. And just like you can see them, you can see yourself. Reverend Ike used to say it's an inside job. So when you seed into someone's life, that which you're seeding is automatically coming back to you tenfold. So if you wanted to, you can go, well, I'm seeding this guy $50, this woman $100. Maybe it's a student that's striving to go on a trip. You give them a donation because it's coming back. You just happy to see them take the trip. You're happy 5, 10, 20 days later to see the homeless person that you gave 50 and $100 to see them have new clothes and they're shaving and clean and they've got some place to stay. You have a ministry. Your ministry can be done 50 million ways. You can get yourself a YouTube account and talk it, a Spreaker account, which is audio radio, blog talk radio and talk it. You can get on video logs, or you could write a blog if you want online, or you find some newspaper and you present your articles in the newspaper or a newsletter of some sort. You have a ministry. What is your ministry? Is to administer, to give something that's going to change someone's life for the better. And in doing so, you will heal the generations in your own life. Every time you see the hug of unconditional love, you bless yourself a generation or two behind you with that energy. It is all about giving just as much as it is being, doing, and having. You have to have the heart to give. That's essential. And we have to learn how to give it without expecting anything back. When you don't expect anything, that's a part of true wealth. Let's say you just happen to be someone who's acquired 10 cars and you can afford to take care of all 10 cars. But you wake up one day and I got to get rid of some of these cars. I don't even want to sell one. I just want to find someone to give it to. And then you reflect on the conversations you've had amongst family, friends, neighbors, co-workers. And you start to draw unto you the right person. Next thing you know, before you know it, you meet that person. And now you can bless that person. The force is in you. It is always in you. When you know the unconditional love that God has placed in all of creation, including you, when you make that choice to receive that, remember that, and know that, then you come into a state of oneness. You walk in the state of oneness. There's no more separation because you're accepting the unconditional love from the universe to yourself and then back into the universe, which also means other beings, other people, two-legged, winged ones, those who slither on the belly, on the earth, those who swim in the water, those who fly in the air, those who go up branches, those who climb trees, those who live in caverns. You seed, and the whole world is affected by your seeding because the intention is there. And it's a good intention, and it's a sweet, and it's joyful, and it's loving with no strings attached. So the more we do this, the more you can manifest your destiny at a rapid pace, or I should say pace. Why? Because there's so much goodness pouring into you that you cannot contain it. There's so much that's coming into you and you can't contain it. You can't hold on to it any longer. You have to share it. You have to offer it. This is why meditation and prayer is very important, because the more we meditate and the more we pray, the stronger the opportunity gets. And this is something that we strive to do. As we do this, this is what you do. You attract. And once you begin to attract one experience, another experience will flow. And this experience keeps coming to you. It just repeats itself. It keeps flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing. So you learn that you begin to attract all that you desire. Now, when you think of attracting all that you desire, that's a big tab. Think of all the things that you truly desire. You know, there's teachings that I also influence myself with. The guy's name is Jeffrey Oswald. Jeffrey Oswald created a website back in 2004 called Enlightened Beings, enlightenedbeings.com. And he's developed a whole course, and I became like an affiliate with him. And I liked it because he didn't charge you anything. He gave you a free website already set up. He's like one of those guys that just knew that what he was teaching and what he was sharing is going to help people. So I became one of his affiliates. But I took one of these courses, an e-course, and it was about manifesting money, making yourself a magnet for money. And what he does is he sends you an email. This email is like for 30 days. And in the email, it's like you're playing the game Monopoly. So he sends you this first email. The first email says something like $1,500. What will you do with $1,500 so that you don't have it at the end of the day? So what you had to do was write down how you would spend the $1,500. If you received a $1,500 check in the mail, certified check, how would you spend it? But you had to spend it up in one day. Now, here's the interesting fact. If I'm not mistaken, either it's 30 days or 90 days. Either way, he's taking you from $1,500 all the way up to $7.5 million by the end of you 30 days or 90-day period. But so interesting is you're getting this email and you got to spend money, the play money. So that means the next email you got was probably 3,000, and then the next one you got was 6, and then 9,000. Then it jumped to 12,000. Then it was 15,000. Then it was 20,000. Then it went up to 50,000. Then from 50,000, 75,000. Then it jumped up to 100,000, 150, and it would just go on and on and on and on and on till he got to the jackpot number. But the interesting factor is you couldn't spend it on something twice. That's the hurdle in the project. But you find what it does is it opens your mind, because that's what it's designed to do. The program is designed to open your mind to prosperity, to abundance, to overcome and override all limitations. So can you imagine someone handing you a $5,000 check and you have 24 hours to spend it so that there's nothing left? Now that doesn't mean that you have to spend it on so many things where you don't get a return. You can spend it where you're going to get a return later for it, like invest it in something. Or again, seed it into someone else's, like you become an angelic investor for somebody else, and then you can watch that money come back to you 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, 3 years later down the line. This is an opportunity to advance your well-being. That's a game that you can play with yourself that opens yourself up to the processes of your divine nature. Opens you up to the process of the divinity within you, of how powerful you are with your mind. How powerful it teaches you. It's actually preparing you. When you do that exercise, it's actually preparing you to connect with bigger sources of finances. Bigger sources of finances that leave you bigger sources of opportunity, events, and change for the better in your own life. When you can break down the walls in your mind, you're doing something. Break down the walls of defeat, self-defeat, self-sabotage, low self-esteem, misunderstanding. Break down the walls of fear, of having, fear of being successful. Break down the walls of fear of becoming courageous in your own life. Break down the fear of being happier in your own life. Break down the fear of overcoming this depressive energy and oppressive energy around you. Break it down so that it is no longer affecting you, no longer poisoning you. So, what is this all about? This is all about reaching out and allowing ourselves to be better. Can you reach out and allow yourself to be better? We're going to show you how to do that next week. We talk about connecting to the divine source with unconditional love, one of his favorite topics in that book. If you'd like to be in touch with me, we're going to do a meditation. We have about 12 more minutes left, but let me get this information out to you. If you want to have a better connection to me, you could, with your questions and your comments, maybe some of your suggestions, you can email me at my primary email address, which is iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com and iam.circleofgrace1@yahoo.com. You can call my Skype number, which is 505-349-4722. That's 505-349-4722. You can also call my other internet laptop kind of number. They call one of those magic jack numbers, which is 505 717 4722. 505 717 4722. Yep, both of those numbers have 4722 at the end because they start to spell out the word grace. Email me, call me. This program will be uploaded in about another hour. It will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, Circle of Grace 1. You can look it up there as Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. And I have over 100 videos of previous shows dating back to 2009, maybe 2008 up there. And I have subscribed to many other good spiritual people. You'll see New Era of Peace, which is Patricia Coto Robles' work. You'll see one of my colleagues there, Maria DeAndrea. She has some material there. And Sheree Victorian from Chicago, she has some beautiful material there as well. Some of it is music that's very good for the soul. And there's so many others in which you could tie into to educate yourself on all of the divine energy that's out here that can help raise your energy higher. Now, I also have 5 basic spiritual courses on PDF. I'm in the process of presenting 2 more, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. One is called How to Scan and Read Auras, and the other one is The Art of Pendulums. And then after that, I'm going to put out Handwriting is Mind Writing, which is some graphology techniques. I'm also going to put out one that is called Energetic Palmistry, and that's how to read the energy. Not necessarily the lines, but on the other side, read the back part of the hand as we call it, and let that energy speak to you too. I'm also going to have a favorite one, which is called Decree and It Shall Be. So you're going to want to get a hold of those. I'll let you know as they get completed. They go for $27 a piece, and you can buy any 5 for $118. And once I get all these other ones together, if you haven't gotten the first 5, if I come up with that extra 6 or 7 PDFs, then there'll be 12, and I'll give you even more special arrangement if you get all 12 or you get 8 of them. So we're giving you some things that you could work with. I'm also going to in the process of revising a book that I wrote many, many years ago. In fact, 13 years ago, I published a book, self-published. It was called Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace. I'm in the process getting a lot of assistance here, some joyful spiritual assistance, getting it edited and revised. I'm coming up with some new chapters, and I'm looking for this book to be out by the summer, before the summer is over with. So I'll let you know the cost of that brand new book, and it's going to have one of my wonderful colorful digital art pieces on the front that I'm quite sure you're going to love. All right, so let me put you in this meditation. This meditation where you know that the force is you. So you want to see yourself in a very wonderful pink light. This is the inner quality of the heart chakra. This beautiful pink light is about success, it's about grace, it's about compassion and understanding. And I want you to take a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out of the mouth. Place the tongue behind the 2 front teeth on the roof of your mouth, just behind the 2 front teeth, the tip of your tongue. Inhale through the nose and release the breath through the mouth. Do that whole cycle. You only need about 3 times. One is going to relax your head down to your shoulders and arms. And then the second one is going to relax from your neck down to your waistline. And then the third one is going to go from your waistline all the way down your legs and into the soles and out of the soles of your feet. And then you just inhale and exhale rhythmically, evenly, and slowly. Now, as you do this, I want you to envision in front of you, feel the presence of a huge treasure trunk. And I want you to just look at it for a moment. Get the texture in your eyes, in your hands. Begin to feel it. Maybe you have a plain one, maybe you have one with the little metal studs on it. I just want you to look at it, rub your hands over it. Then I want you to open it. And inside, you see all these beautiful gemstones and jewelry. You see sacred texts bound in leather. You see luminous discs kind of hovering throughout. You see energetic forms like symbols. They might be written on the inside walls of the trunk. Be sure you look in the top underneath. This treasure trunk is a treasure trove of spiritual consciousness, awareness, and it's a reminder that you contain everything that's inside is related to your divinity. And everything inside represents the force of that divinity. And as you place your hands into this mix of coins and jewels and paper money, all kinds, stacks of money, it just has light flowing out of it. And the more you pull back all these beautiful, colorful books and sounds and things that you hear, you notice more is coming up. This is the earth and the universe that is speaking to you, just telling you that your life is overflowing in abundance, greatness, and prosperity, wholeness, and healing, and joy. You can smell success. And everything that you feel yourself doing is taking you further. Everything that you feel yourself doing is taking you further and further and further. And you know, as you are moving forward, you're moving forward with the power of the greatness that's inside of you. Everything that you do is healing you. Everything that you do is taking you further. Everything that you do now is changing your life, and you are this force. You can feel the force flowing through you. The force is embedding itself right into your bloodstream. The force is cleansing and purifying your bloodstream. It's purifying your eyesight. It's making your 5 physical senses stronger and more sensitive. You're more sensitive to light, where light doesn't blind you, but you can see the details of air particles vibrating in the air. You can see the prismatic colorization of light flowing all around you. Anywhere you look, you can see this light. You can see the light in someone's auric field, and you can even interpret it. You can see a dream. You could be in someone's dream, or they can be in your dream, and you all are striving for the same thing. I want you now to smile into your heart, and as you see and understand the force of this divine source of abundance and prosperity is in you, you begin to act as if, and remember that not only are you capable and have the capacity to evolve this way, but you're already doing it. You can feel people being attracted to you that assist you to move forward and expand. You can feel this presence come over you, and it's your own divine source. The umbrella of your divinity is your own shelter. Compassion and grace and understanding is right there for you. It's flowing through your body. It's in the air that you breathe. It's in the water that you drink, the food that you take into your body. You walk onto the earth, and you emboldened by the earth's presence, and you're ensouling the earth, ensouling the presence of the earth in you, and therefore sharing the earth with yourself. And everything's flowing for you. Just take it in now. You are the source, you are the force. Divine essence is all around you. You see and feel the presence of divine grace around you. You feel the presence of angels. I see and decree that whatever you are experiencing right now, it is creating greater wholeness and completion for you. I see and decree that everything that you touch shall overflow with prosperity and abundance, and you shall be blessed by those things that you even think about. And those things will bless you that you receive, and those things will bless you as you bless others with what you have. I see and decree that all shall be well. I see and decree that hurdles are melting, obstacles are melting. I see and decree that those of you who have volumes of creativity, that you're touching the world with your creativity. I see and decree that those of you who have great understanding of herbs know even greater how to use them. And not only do you heal your families and your friends and your relatives, but you even heal the neighborhood. You even heal the animals that need it. I see and decree that everything that you're doing shall come to pass on your behalf, and you shall benefit by all that you're doing, because the source of the infinite realms of God consciousness are embedded in all of your cells. I see and decree that you shall be a success here and now. Amen. And so shall it be. Thank you for listening to today's show. Um, this is the second. In about 2 more weeks, I'll be celebrating my 65th birthday. That's on a Thursday, so I don't know if I'm going to be broadcasting because I'll be in a hotel. I might pull it off through my phone. I might do a 30-minute show or something. I might just do it on Facebook Live or something. But I don't know yet. I know I'll do the Blog Talk Radio on March the 15th before, so getting you ready. And this month I'll be going back and doing my monthly meditation at the House of Hathor, which is my sister Renelle's house. We've chosen Friday, May the May. We've chosen Friday, March the 31st, because we want to be ready so that you can be ready to get these new teachings, and hopefully I'll have some brand new things I want to present in my meditations. We're going to do them slightly different, hopefully, and there'll be more teaching that goes on, as well as people receiving the information. Well, you've gotten all my contact information. My grace is your grace. Akhenaten says our grace is your grace. Until next time, I'll be here next Thursday, the 9th, at 5 p.m., but I'm not sure on the 16th if I'm going to do a live one. That's my birthday. I'll be on Blog Talk Radio, though, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We've got some great new work coming out there to share with you. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Thank you for your support.